Today, we will discuss the Chapter 12 of PSME Code, the metrology, presented by Baldera Zion Mark.
Andre of the Jericho Angelo.
First one is the Section 1, Section and Scope. To familiarize all the practitioners with the concept and techniques of measuring instrument, it covers the application of metrology in all industries which concern with the fundamental standard and techniques of measurements and with the scientific principle of instrument involved. Section 2, Definitions. Correctness or accuracy. Degree of conformity of a measured or calculated value to some recognized standard or specific value. The difference between the measured and true value is the error of the measurement. Precision is the repeatability of the measuring process or how well identically performed measurements agree. Which concept applies to a set of measurements? Tolerance or allowance. Tolerance is the amount of variation permitted in the part or of total variation allowed in given dimension, while allowance is the minimum clearance space intended between the mating parts and represent the conditions of tightest possible fit. Standard. Something that is set up to establish by authority as a rule for the measure or of rather quantity, weight, extent, value, or quality. Sensitivity or readability. Sensitivity is the and readability are primarily associated with the measuring process. Sensitivity is the ability of measuring device to detect small differences in a quality being measured, while readability is the susceptibility of measuring device to have its indication converted to a measured meaningful number. Section 3, Measurement and Concept. The interval system of units, or the SI standard unit, the Conference General des Points et Measures, or CGPM, which is the body responsible for all international matters concerning the metric system, adopted in 1954, a rationalized and coherent system of units based on the 4 MKSA units, meter, kilogram, seconds, ampere. In 1960, the CGPM formally named this system the System International of Units, for which the abbreviation is SI in all languages. At the present time, most of the industrially advanced metric using countries are changing from their traditional metric system to SI. The SI, like the traditional metric system, is based on the decimal arithmetic. For each physical quantity, units of different size are formed by multiplying or dividing the single base value by powers of 10. The SI is coherent system because the product of quotient of any two units quantities in the system is the unit of the resultant quantity. For example, in a coherent system in which the meter is the unit of length, the square meter is the unit of area. A system of measurement such as the Le System International of United States of units rather, SI satisfies certain concept which where units are used. The SI system is a decimal system composed of 6 base units, 2 supplemental units, and additionally derived units as given in table 12.1 SI system of measurement. In the table 12.2, for easy reference, table 12.3 are some conversion factors commonly used, and table 12.4 multiple and sub-multiple units. Mechanics. The use of metric SI system in mechanics calculations, the SI system is developed of the traditional metrics based on decimal arithmetic. Fractions are avoided for each physical quantity. Units of different size are formed by multiplying or dividing a single base value by powers of 10. Thus, changes can be made very simple by adding zeros or shifting decimal points. Mass, weight, force, load, SI is an absolute system and consequently it is necessary to make a clear distinction between mass and weight. The mass of a body is measure of its inertia, whereas the weight of a body is the force exerted on its gravity. In a fixed gravitational field overlook, however, if a body is moved to a different gravitational field, or for example, that of the moon, its weight alters but it must remain unchanged. Since the gravitational field on Earth varies from place to place by only a small amount and weight proportional to mass, it is practical to use the weight of unit mass as a unit of force. And this procedure is adopted in both the English and older metric system of measurement. In common usage, they are given the same name and we say the mass of 1 pound has a weight of 1 pound. In the former case, the pound is being used as a unit of mass and in the later case as a unit of force. This procedure is convenient in some branches of engineering, but leads to confusion in others. Excuse me. Next. In the SI unit of mass is kilogram and the unit of force and therefore weight is the Newton. The following are typically statements in dynamics expressed in SI units. A force of R newtons acting on mass or m kilogram produce an acceleration of 3 meters per second. The kinetic energy of a mass of m kilogram moving with velocity meter per second is approximately Vd kilogram or square meter or multiplied by the mvd joules. The work done by the force or r newtons moving in a distance length. Meters is RL, Newton meter, or RL joules. If this work were converted entirely into kinetic energy, we would write RL is equal to 1/2 mv squared. And it is instructive to consider the units remembering that the N is the same as kilogram per square seconds. We have kilogram meter per second square multiplied by the mass is equal to kilogram multiplied by the mass over SY, which is the obviously correct. It will noted that G does not appear anywhere in this statement. In contrast, in many branches of engineering where the weight of a body is important rather than its mass, using the SI units, G does appear where formerly this was the absent. Thus, if a rope hangs vertically supporting a mass of kilograms, the tension in the rope is mgn, where G is the acceleration to the gravity and its units are meter per square seconds. The ordinarily numerical value of 9.81 will be sufficiently for most processes. The expression is still valid elsewhere. For example, on the moon, provided the proper value of G is used the maximum tension, the rope can safely withstand, and other similar properties will also be specified in terms of the Newton, so that the direct comparison may be made with the tension predicted. Next. Pressure and stress, these quantities are expressed in terms of force per unit area. In the SI, the unit is based on the Newton per square meter. Similarly, data used in strength of materials calculations, Young modulus of elasticity, field strength, and so on, are all expressed in terms of the Newton. It has been recommended by the International Standard Organization that the special be the Pascal. This recommendation is subject to the approval by the CGPM. The basic unit is Newton per square meter. It's very small. It is only 0.15 multiplied by 10 pound per square inch. Hence, the deformation is kilonewton per meter. Are much more frequently encountered, the latter in sometimes written as Newton per square millimeter. In some countries, the bar 1.5 Newton meter per square meter rather, and hectobar 1.7 Newton per square meter are employed. The safest rule is to convert to the basic unit before starting any calculations. 4.0 classifications of the common measuring instrument used in the industry. First one is the linear measurement. A direct reading. 1 is rule. 2 is combination set. 3 is dip gauge. 4, vernier caliper. 5 is the micrometer. And lastly, the measuring machine, mechanical and optical. Section 5, the graduated manual measuring tools. Rules. The most generally used graduated measuring instrument in the industrial metrology field of approximately determining linear dimensions which are made with various dimensions. Accuracies. Rules shall be manufactured or carbon steel or stainless steel. Shrink rules commonly employed in the pattern making trade where the casting of metals are involved, which automatically take into consideration the shrink allowances of the materials being cast. Book rule, frequently used to assure the user that the end of the workpiece is flush with the end of the rule. Tapered rules used in the measuring inside of small holes, narrow slots, and grooves. Next is the calipers. Slide calipers consist of stationary integral with the graduated beam on which the movable jaws slides with the reference point for inside and outside reading. Next one is the vernier calipers. Measuring the instrument which can be used for taking both sides, and dial caliper, directly reading calipers which are accurate up to the thousandth of centimeter. The next one is the vernier height gauges. Vertically positioned vernier calipers used in tool rooms, inspections departments, or whether layout and jig and fixtures work necessitate accurately measuring or making of vertical distances. Next is the vernier depth gauge. Provide long-range accuracy for determining the depth of holes, slots, and recesses rather, as well as the measuring from a plane surface to tool makers. Next. Gear tooth vernier calipers used to check the pitch line thickness of gear teeth by measuring the tool cord at the specific distance, caudal or the caudal addendum from the top of gear tooth. The gauge consists of two independently actuated vernier calipers, each having its own movable slide, but the beams and the stationary jaw are made of common single-piece One of the side has the form of a blade called the tongue of the instrument, which contacts the top of the gear tooth. By moving this slide, the gauge can be adjusted to operate at the desired addendum distance. Second slide, the integral with the movable jaw carries out the actual chordal thickness measurement at the pitch line. Micrometer calipers. Most useful gauge tolerance measuring device for quick and accurate measurement to the thousandth part of centimeter. First one is the outside micrometer, precision measuring instrument used in a determining outside measurement and classified into interchangeable anvil micrometers, multiple anvil micrometers, high precision micrometers, dial indicating micrometers, direct reading micrometers, V-anvil micrometers, disc type micrometers, blade type micrometers, quick adjusting micrometers, and lastly, the screw thread micrometers. Direct reading micrometers are read directly in thousand from figures appearing in small window on the barrel of the micrometer. Tens of thousand direct reading micrometers, however, employ a vernier for establishing the tens figures. The next one is the blade type micrometers. These are an adaptation of standard micrometers in which the anvil and spindle ends are thin to a blade shape, which are used for checking the root diameter of circular form tools as well as the diameter of circular form tools as well as the diameter and depth of narrow slots, keyways, recesses, etc. Next is the quick adjusting micrometers that allow the spindle to be slid quickly to any point within their range, which makes them particularly efficient thousand reading micrometers for checking work where a variety of dimensions are involved. Next is the screw thread micrometers. Screw thread micrometers are designed to read the pitch diameter of screw, thousand accuracy by the use of pointed spindle and double V anvil, which are available for varying diameters of work, and each size normally covers a range of the threads per centimeter. Next is the inside micrometer, used for measuring the diameters of holes and other inside dimensions. Consists of permanent contact micrometer head and a set of interchangeable rods in various increments, which are seated snugly in the opposite end of the head against a shoulder lock securely. Next, the protractor consists of rectangular head graduated in degrees along a semicircle with a blade pivoted on the center pin. Any angle from 0 to 180 can be set combination protractor, and depth gauge is a combination of movable graduated blade depth gauge and for the graduated protractor head. Universal bevel protractor consists of a round body with a fixed blade on which a graduated turret rotates the turret and slatted accommodated an 18 or 30 centimeter non-graduated blade. Through a locking mechanism and desired angle and the blade length can be seen. This tool has a vernier reading to 5 minutes and can be furnished with or without a fine adjustment feature. The dial of the protractor is graduated around a complete circle, and an angle of 360 can be laid out accurately. The dial indicator. A dial indicator is composed of a graduated dial spindle pointers, and satisfactory means of supporting or clamping it firmly, which is used to measure inaccuracies in alignment, eccentricity, and deviations on surface supposed to be parallel. Engaging work, it gives a direct reading of tolerance variations from the exact size. Indicators are classified as American Gauge Design Standard indicators and dial test indicators. The dial test indicators, commonly known as the toolmaker's indicators, which are smaller than the smallest AGD standard indicator, and because of its small size and its thin tapered body, it can be employed in many places not accessible with other indicators, and also used as an accessory with many machine tools. The planimeter or planecator is a tool used for checking the flatness of plane surface to tens of thousands of a centimeter and consists of a diabase straight edge and adjustable mounting for the straight edge rather, and of 0.0005 centimeter reading indicator. The straight edge is always in the same reference plane at every position of the surface being checked. Readings are taken under the straight edge and recorded directly into the counter chart of plane being checkpoints of equal height are connected to the form visual features. Next. Section 6, non-graduated manual measuring tools. Calipers. Calipers follow an progression which originates with the standard inside and outside calipers and are non-graduated tools for measuring the distance between 2 points of contact on the workpiece. This distance then must be transferred to an actual dimension by use of graduated direct measuring instrument. Standard calipers consist of two movable metal legs attached together by a spring joint at one end and with form contacts at the other, and so designed as to take inside readings or readings from one point to another, and these are called outside calipers and dividers. Bevels consist of three non-graduated slatted blades with one or two screw and nailed nut connecting them. By loosening the nuts, the blades can be set to varying angles. Trammels, used in size beyond the range of dividers, consist of long bar on which two arms or trammels slide. Next. Gauges. A gauge is device used to determine whether the part has been made to the tolerance required. Indicates scooping cover a range from 4 millimeter to 150 millimeter. Two types are commonly used in industry. One type has a handle with one stationary contact and one spring plunger contact with locking device set at right angles to the handles, while other one has a handle with two plunger contacts at right angles to the handle. Surface gauges consist of round rectangular steel bar with round upright rod and fine adjustment feature in the base. Straight edges are flat length of tools or stainless steel and ground to extremely particularly along the edges. They are used for scribing accurate straight lines and check surfaces for straightness. Next. Section 7, the special purpose of measuring tools. Among Among the many measuring tools designed for specialized applications are tap and drill gauges, consist of flat rectangle of steel with holes accurately drilled and identified according to their size. Wire gauges are round steel plates with slot of ascending widths along their edge. Next. Screw pitch gauges consist of metal case containing many separate leaves. Radius gauges are individual leaves or set of leaves in case and are designed to check both convex and concave radii. Thickness failure gauge consists of a number of thin blade leaves of a different thickness and used in checking clearances, backlash in gears, and for gauging in narrow points of places. Section 8. Non-destructive inspection. Hardness measurement in determining the hardness of mild steel and non-ferrous alloys. A penetration hardness tester is utilized in mostly semi-portable magnetic particle inspection in type of inspections, crack, voids, and material discontinuous can be detected through the setting up to intense magnetic field in the parts to be inspected. Next. Radiographic inspection. This accomplished by exposing a part of to either X-rays, gamma rays, or radiations, radiosotopes, and viewing the image created by the radiation on the fluoroscope or film. Fluorescent penetrants. These are used to find surface defects in almost any material. Ultrasonic testing. In ultrasonic testing, a high-frequency vibration or supra-audible signal is directed into the part to be tested to determine the metal thickness precisely. Eddy current testing. This method is used for the flow detection, sorting by the metallurgical properties such as hardness and thickness measurement. Next. Section 9. Pressure and vacuum measurement. In industrial application, pressure is normally measured by means of indicating gauges or recorders and are classified as the mechanical, electromechanical, electrical, or electronic types. Mechanical instrument may be further classified as pressure measurement by balancing, as an unknown pressure against a known force is the simplest and oldest method that will automatically balance the static pressure being measured against a resisting force whose magnitude can be read directly from an instrument or can be easily computed. The liquid column gauges. The liquid column gauges used mostly in industry in some type of or either U-type or well type of manometer. Limb diaphragm gauges are used for measuring low pressure in boiler houses and on other implications where low pressures must be accurately measured. Bell-type gauges designed for measuring low pressures. This type of gauge utilizes the large area of liquid-sealed bell chamber to provide the force necessary to actuate an indicating or recording mechanism and can be made sensitive to the smallest change of pressure likely to be significant in an industrial application and yet rugged enough to endure considerable mistreatment. Piston gauges suitable for pressure up to 350 kg per square centimeter and higher but limited largely to hydraulic applications where oil is the fluid under the pressure. Next. Pressure measurement by the formation of an elastic membrane is the most universally used for measuring high and medium pressure because of its simplicity, compactness, and maintenance-free property. Bourdon tube gauge is the most widely used industrial pressure gauge applied to the both pressure and vacuum, either separately or in a compound gauge. Helical type of pressure gauge. Variations of the simple Bourdon type of pressure gauge wherein the element or tube is wound in the form of spiral having 4 or 5 turns. Bell type gauge designed for measuring low pressure. This type of gauge utilizes the large area of liquid sealed bell chamber to provide the force necessary to actuate an indicating or recording mechanism and can be made sensitive to the smallest change of pressure likely to be significant in an industrial application. Piston gauge suitable for pressure up to 350 kilogram square centimeter and higher but limited largely to hydraulic applications where oil and is the fluid under pressure. Next. Sector gear arrangement has a large sector gear mounted at the right angles to a link connecting the sector gear arm and Bourdon type tube tip movement. Cam and roller arrangement employs a cam sector and a helicoid roller to which a pointer is attached. Next. Electromechanical pressure instrument usually employ a mechanical means by detecting the pressure and an electrical means for indicating or recording the detected pressure. Electronic pressure measuring instrument normally depend on some physical change that can be detected and indicated or recorded electronically. Vacuum gauges, mechanical, electrical, and electronic. The pressure gauges used primarily for measuring pressure below atmospheric pressure, which is most often referred to as a vacuum, are MC Leod gauges, Pirani gauges, Knudsen gauges, thermocouple gauges, Phillips gauges, and ionization gauges, different types of except for Knudsen gauge. MacLeod gauge. The MacLeod gauge is a mercury gauge for measurement of absolute pressure. The Pirani gauge. The Pirani is a hot wire vacuum gauge. This gauge employs a wet zone bridge to balance the resistance of tungsten filament or resistor shield in a high vacuum against that or a tungsten filament which can be loose heat by conduction to the gas whose pressures is being measured. Knudsen type vacuum gauge. The Knudsen gauge operates on the principle of heated gauge rebounding from a heated surface and bombarding a cooled movable surface vane which space less than a mean free path length from the heated surface. Phillips vacuum gauge. The advantage of this gauge are the wide range that it can be covered, absence of filaments to burn or rub metal constructions, and ease of cleaning and maintenance. Vacuum gauge calibration. The majority of industrial vacuum applications do not require the ultimate in vacuum calibration techniques. Where calibration are needed for very high vacuum technique, measuring gauges a calibrated precision ionization gauge should be used as the standard. Section 10, Thermometry and Pyrometry, indicating and recording thermometer. pressure-actuated instrument that uses the energy available in the form of increased pressure or volume, a substance to indicate the record change in temperature that liberated this energy. Proper location of an indicating and recording thermometer. First one is the thermometer. Bulb shall be located in such a way as to permit the recorder to be removed for repair. The recorder shall have enough tubing to permit the bulb to reach a convenient location for the test bud. The thermometer tubing shall be properly fastened and out of the way of damage from operators, mechanics, and pipe fitters who may have occasion to work near the installation. The angle of the tube at the neck of the bulb shall be protected. The tubing shall never be in contact with hot steam pipes or stacks with wood, which would increase the chance of ambient temperature errors. The locations of bimetallic recording thermometers shall be carefully checked for dirt and dust in the air.
Yan.
The next part is to be discussed with Riopta.
Next is thermocouple pyrometers, in which the voltage generated at the junction of two dissimilar metal wire indicates the degree of temperature. The voltage at the junction increasing proportionality with the temperature. Specification in the selection of thermocouple materials. A. Thermocouple wires shall be chosen in such a way that they produce a large electromotive force that varies linearly with the temperature. B. They shall be corrosion and oxidation resistant in the atmosphere and temperature range where they shall be used. C. They shall be resistant to change in characteristics that shall affect their calibration. D. They shall be free from parasitic occurrence. E. Required reading shall be reproducible within the accuracy limits. And F. They shall be physically strong enough to withstand high temperature, rapid temperature changes. Temperature limitations in the selection of thermocouple materials. Letter A. Copper constantan, commonly used in the 185 to 300 degrees Celsius temperature range and superior for measurement of relatively low temperatures, especially sub-zero temperatures, and stand up well against corrosion and are reproducible to a high degree precision. Iron constantan used in reducing atmosphere where there is a lack of free oxygen and useful in the negative 18 to 760 degrees C. The rate of oxidation increases rapidly, and so heavier wire shall be used for 540 degrees C applications. And protection wells shall be used to cover the thermocouple. C. Chromel alumel shall be used extensively in oxidizing atmospheres where there is an excess of free oxygen and shall be used to measure temperature up to 1,320 degrees Celsius but most satisfactory at a temperature up to 1,150 degrees Celsius for constant service. Reducing atmospheres have a tendency to change the thermoelectric characteristics of these materials and reduce their accuracy. Platinum, rhodium. Normally designated noble metal thermocouples shall be used for higher temperatures, range 700 to 1,500 degrees Celsius, and are adversely affected by atmospheres containing reducing gases and shall be protected by an impervious tube when used at temperatures above 540 degrees C when such gases are present. Proper installation of thermocouples. A thermocouple shall not be located in the direct path of a flame. B. It shall be located where the average temperature is measured. For a large furnace, it shall be desirable to install several couples in different parts of the furnace. It shall be located where the hot end can be seen from a door of the furnace. The couple shall be immersed in the furnace or vessel far enough so that the junction is entirely in the temperature to be measured. Where is danger of couple fusing from the high temperature, it shall be partially immersed in order to keep it cool. If the thermocouple is mounted horizontally and the temperature is above softening point of the tube, a support shall be provided to preventing sagging. The couple shall be installed in a pocket to prevent damage from material in the furnace. If a porcelain protecting tube is used, care shall be taken to bring the furnace up to temperature slowly in order to prevent cracking the tube. A porcelain tube shall never be inserted in a hot furnace. Important considerations in wiring a thermocouple. Conduct shall be used and thermocouple head shall be connected directly with a flexible cable to protect the binding post connection between the thermocouple and the lead lines. All wires that must be spliced shall be soldered no less than 3.31 square millimeters. Copper wire shall be used with the millivoltmeter pyrometer in order to reduce the resistance of the circuit to a minimum. Wire shall never run parallel to or cross within 30 centimeters any AC line of 110 volts or more. Surge lighting arresters shall be used where there is a danger from the source. Rotary switches used for connecting the thermocouples to the indicating instrument shall be very rugged to withstand the temperature to be measured. Resistance thermometers in which the resistance of a calibrated wire changes with the temperature, the resistance changes being proportional to the increase in temperature. Resistance thermometers and thermistors. A resistance thermometer is basically an instrument for measuring electrical resistance which has been calibrated to read in degrees of temperature instead of units of resistance. Characteristics of resistance thermometers or thermistors. Frames where coils of wire are wound shall be insulated by materials capable of withstanding the temperatures for which the thermometer is designed. To obtain the highest sensitivity of measurement, the material shall have the greatest resistance change per degree for a given value of resistance, but it shall have good stability over a long period of time and over a wide range of temperatures without changing its electrical characteristics. Metals to be used shall have a higher degree of linearity over resistance temperature range for which the thermometer is designed. Resistance thermometers shall be used within the -40 to 500 degrees Celsius temperature range. Thermistors shall be used within -80 to 400 degrees Celsius temperature range. Liquid-filled glass thermometers, in which there is an expansion or contraction of a liquid corresponding to the changes in temperature. The expansion of the liquid being proportional to the increase in temperature. The liquids commonly used of which are mercury, alcohol, or pentane. Requirements for liquid-filled thermometer liquids. A. The vapor pressure shall be negligible over the temperature range for which it is also to be used. B. The coefficient of cubical expansion shall be high. Letter C. The liquid shall be chemically inactive with respect to the metal in the thermometer system. And D. The liquid shall have a low specific gravity, a low specific heat, and a high coefficient of heat conductivity. The liquid shall be compressible. Industrial liquid-filled thermometers are used for measuring the temperature of molten metals in monotype casting machines, flue gas ovens, kilns, air inducts, dough testing, ruler frying, hard candy, cream cooking, chocolate melting and mixing refrigerators, and cooling units. Hot and cold water, steam, cooking vessels, brewing vats, lubricating oils, air compressors, diesel engines, and for the other application in which the temperature-sensitive bulbs can kept completely and constantly submerged in the medium at the point of maximum circulation. Requirements to obtain the best accuracy with industrial liquid-filled thermometers. A thermometer shall be installed properly so that the temperature-sensitive bulb can reach temperature equilibrium with the surrounding medium. The temperature-sensitive bulb shall also be properly immersed in the medium to be measured to eliminate the immersion error. The thermometer shall be installed at the point of maximum flow to provide the most rapid heat transfer from the medium under measurement of the bulb. D. Bourdon tube thermometers, which operate by the expansion of fluid or liquid or gas as follows. Expansion of liquid that completely fills the enclosed tubing and bulb of the instrument. Expansions of the liquid in the bulb of the instrument. Expansion of gas that completely fills the tubing and bulb of the instrument. Classification of Bourdon tube thermometers. Bourdon tube thermometers are classified according to kind of fluid which they are filled. Class 1 are those of the liquid-filled kind, the liquid filling completely the bulb, capillary tube, and the spring that actuate the indicating mechanism of the thermometer, and liquid expansion is the actuating medium. Class 2 are the only partly filled with liquid, most of which is in the bulb, and the vapor of the liquid fills the capillary tube and the spring of the indicating device, and vapor pressure is the actuating medium. Advantages of an optical pyrometer. No direct contact with the object whose temperature is to be measured is required other than it be in view. The instrument can be used to measure temperature as high as 2,760 degrees Celsius, mostly used within the 1,650 to 2,760 degrees Celsius temperature range. The temperature measurements are practically independent of the distance of the operator from the heated body. The measurements can be made with great rapidity and temperature gradients easily determined along invisible part of a heated object. Pyrometer cones, by which the temperature is determined by the bending over of the graded set of ceramic cones, each having a definite heat resisting value. Next, section 11, flow metering. Inferential type. The inferential type of meters obtains a measurement of the flow of a liquid or gas not by measuring the volume or weight of the medium,
No battery, please charge.
by measuring some the other phenomenon that is function of the quantity of fluid passing through the pipe, and phenomenon usually measured its either pressure differential or velocity in the pipe. The differential pressure meters, Venturi tube type. A, flow nozzle type. B, orifice split type. Pitot tube type. Area meters or rotameters. A glass rotameter consists of tapered glass tube set vertically in the fluid or gaseous piping system with its large and a top and a metering float which is free to move vertically in the tapered glass tube. Anemometers are instruments for measuring the flow of gas or air, consists of a set of rotating vanes placed at an angle of about 45 degrees to the axis flow and free to rotate about an axis set in dual bearings. Electrical meters. Number 1, electrical air conductance meters. By utilizing the ability of gas to conduct heat from a wire or grid heating electrically, it is possible to obtain a quantitative measurement of a gas through a pipeline or air duct. Number 2, electromagnetic flow meter. Electrical primary detectors of the rate of flow. In this type of flow meter, an electromotive force is induced in the fluid by its motion through a magnetic field provided by the electromagnet. The DC magnetic field acts vertically through the pipe that carries the fluid. B, volumetric and current types. Number 1, piston type volumetric flow meter is used to inject an exact amount of fluid into flow line or collecting vessel. A, notating this pump. Positive displacement flow meter, where the piston is the only moving part on the measuring chamber. Table. So this is table 12.5, classification of temperature measuring instrument. Next is the rotary sliding vane flow meter. Volumetric meter constructed similarly to the standard vane type of vacuum pump, wherein the design requires that the meter body be in the shape of a closed drum with shaft carrying a smaller cylinder arranged to rotate the inside meter body. Letter C, oscillating piston flow meter. Oscillating piston flow meter consists of the hollow piston arranged to oscillate about the center abutment, which is encircled by a confining ring housed in a drum-shaped meter body. Letter D, rotating bucket flow meter. A positive displacement of a volumetric meter consisting of a meter with a drum type of body having the outlet and the inlet ports side by side with a dividing baffle between them. Letter E. Screw type of flow meter consists of 3 mesh screws or rotors mounted vertically and rotating in a measuring chamber. The center or power screw is approximately twice as large in diameter as 2 idler rotors and has a large thread of special shape designed to seal the meter completely by meshing with the idler rotors and provide maximum meter capacity. Next, spiral vane flow meter consists of metering chamber in which a rotor is mounted with a hollow shaft which admits the liquid into a meter. Roots type of volumetric gas meter consists of a set of 2 rotors having a cross-sectional area at the right angle to the rotating shaft in the approximately shape of a figure 8. Next, turbine type current flow meters used for measuring flows ranging from 0.003 to 1,000 or to 15,000 Galmin as the standard liquid flow meters and 20 to 9,000 cubic minute as gas flow meters. Next, installation of volumetric flow meters. All volumetric flow meters that are subjected to high head pressure should be protected by means of a bypass check valve which will relieve the pressure in case the meter should become jammed owing to foreign materials. Section 12. Measurement of weight. Weight is a primary method of measuring force, and volumetric devices are calibrated initially by weighing. Scales have been constructed to weigh 1,000,000 kilograms or while the chemical balance at the opposite extreme while easily weigh 1,000,000 of kilogram. So 12.1, the common platform scale used in the laboratory consists of a compound leverage system. 12.2, pendulum scales give automatic indication on over a wide range and are extensively used when speed is important. This type of scale also weight balance, but the weights are mounted on bent levers, and the movement of these pendulum levers are magnified and transmitted to pointers that swing in a full circle. 12.3. Electrical scales are combinations of mechanical elements and electrical measuring devices. Weighing can also be accomplished by supporting the load on the hydraulic pistons, diaphragms, or bellows units and measuring the resulting hydraulic pressure with any convenient pressure gauge. 13.1. Counter and timer, a common type of revolution. Revolution counter wherein the rubber of steel tip is applied directly to the shaft center and friction is relied upon to drive spindle. Tachometer gives a direct and continuous indication of speed and is therefore the most convenient for observing speed variation or fluctuation and for general observation in which a high degree of accuracy is unnecessary. Next is stroboscope. Utilizes the phenomenon of which persistent of vision when an object is viewed intermittently. This is used for speed measurement with indicating dials calibrated throughout the range of 700 to 14,000 RPM and especially valuable where it is inconvenient to make a common connection or contact with a rotating shaft or a pipe or for light-powered machinery. U-meter, instrument to measure the Section 14, Environmental and Pollution Measurements. 14.1, U-meter, instrument to measure the relative humidity of the atmospheric air, which is important as comfort factor and is measurable how many airborne particles are held in suspension where we can take them into our lungs as we breathe. Hygrometer, psychrometer, instrument to measure also the relative humidity of the environment. Next, provisions of hygrometer in all departments of cotton, spinning, weaving mills wherein artificial humidification is adopted. Hygrometer shall be provided and maintained in such position as are approved by the engineer. Weaving department, 1 hygrometer per department with less than 500 looms, and 1 additional hygrometer for every 500 or part of 500 looms in excess of 500. Other departments, 1 of the hygrometer for each room of less than 8,500 cubic meters capacity, 1 extra hygrometer for each 5,600 cubic meters or part in excess of this. Next, temperature to be recorded at each hygrometer. At each hygrometer, maintain correct wet and dry bulb temperature shall be recorded daily during working hours, except intervals for rest by component persons nominated by the manager. Next, specification of hygrometer. Each hygrometer shall comprise 2 mercurial thermometers of wet and dry bulb of similar construction and equal in dimension, scale, and divisions of scale. The wet bulb shall be closely covered with a single layer of muslin kept wet by means of a wick attached to it and dropping it to the water in the reservoir. No part of the wet bulb shall be within 75 mm from the dry bulb or less than 25 mm from the surface of the water in the reservoir shall be below it. The bulb shall be spherical and of suitable dimension shall be freely exposed on all sides to the aid of the room. The bores of the stream shall be really distinguishable at a distance of 60 cm. 6 each thermometer shall be graduated so that accurate readings may be taken between 10 to 50 degrees. Each thermometer shall be graduated so that the accurate readings may be taken between 10 to 50 degrees. Every degree from 10 degrees up to 50 degrees shall be clearly marked by horizontal lines on the stem. Each 5th and 10th degree shall be marked by longer marks than the intermediate mark opposite each 5th degree. Example, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 40, and so on. The marking as above shall be accurate, that is to say, at no temperature between 10 to 50 degrees shall be indicated readings be in error by more than 2/10 of a degree. Every degree from 10 degrees up to 50 degrees shall be clearly marked by horizontal lines on the stem. Next, a distinctive number shall be inedibly marked upon the thermometer. Then, the accuracy of each thermometer shall be certified by the Bureau of Standards, Ministry of Trade and Industry. The wick and the muslin covering the wet tube shall be renewed once a week. The reservoir shall be filled with water which shall be completely renewed once a day. The engineer or manager may direct the use of distilled water or pure rainwater in particular mill or mills in a certain localities. No water shall be applied directly to the wick or covering during the period of employment. An inaccurate thermometer must not be used without pressure certificate. If an engineer gives a notice in writing that a thermometer is not accurate, it shall not, after 1 month from the date of such notice, be seen to be accurate unless and until it has been re-examined or prescribed and press certificate obtained, which certificate shall be kept attached to the humidity register. Hygrometer, not to be fixed to wall unless protected by wood. No hygrometer shall be fixed to a wall, pillar, or other surface unless protected therefrom by wood or the other non-conducting material at least 12.7 mm in thickness and distant at least 25.4 mm from the bulb of each thermometer. No hygrometer shall be fixed at a height of more than 1,700 millimeters from the floor to the top of the thermometer stem or in the direct draughts from a fan window or ventilating opening. No reading to be taken within 15 minutes of renewal of water. No reading shall be taken for record on any hygrometer within 15 minutes on the renewal of water in the reservoir. How to introduce steam from humidification in any room in which steam pipes are used for the introducing of steam for the purpose of artificial humidification of the air. The following provision shall apply. The diameter of such pipes shall not exceed 25 mm. Such pipe shall be as short as is reasonably practicable. All hangers supporting such pipes shall be separated from the bare pipes by an efficient insulator not less than 15 mm in thickness. No uncovered jet from such pipes shall project more than 100 mm beyond the outer surface of any cover. The steam pressure shall be as low as practicable. The pipe employed for the introduction of steam into the air in a department shall be effectively covered with such non-conducting material as may be approved by the engineer. And that's all for our report in chapter 12.
Thank you.
Thank you.